Hello and welcome. You're watching The Social Network. Now, protests are a sign of healthy democracy, even as they do expose the points friction between those in power and those who find themselves powerless and want to be heard. Now, India has seen a huge spur in protests in the past 2 years. The Anna Hazare Lokpal protests, the anti-Big Dam protests submerged in water, Shingur, Nandigram, but also other online protests, and they might not look spectacular, but they do have a voice, and that is important. Online supporters say they are a link between the powerful and the powerless. So on The Social Network today, we ask online protests, are they overrated? You can tweet us live during our show, the Twitter handle on your screens in just a minute at TSN on NDTV. That's on your screens at the moment. You can tweet us live and interact with the panelists live. Now, I want to introduce our guest today. We are joined in the studio by Preeti, who is the campaign director at change.org. We're also joined by Pradeep, who is a petitioner, and he started a petition. Pradeep, आपके petition के बारे में हम आपसे थोड़ी देर में बात करेंगे. We're also joined by Alam, who joins us from Lucknow. He's part of the Rihai Manch, and they are, of course, a very, very core and a very, very grassroots bunch, and they're going to talk to us about why they feel that the grassroots protests can certainly not get overtaken by online petitions. And of course, we'll also be joined by Manisha Sethi, who is president of the Student Solidarity Association in Jamia. She'll be joining us in just a bit. But first, a lot of people have, of course, a lot of people who have access to technology know this like the back of the hand. But just really quickly to take you through a couple of websites that do a lot of petitions. One is, of course, Awaz.org. These are both worldwide websites. This is also a website which many people use to start petitions. And of course, look at, for example, the kind of numbers that they're pulling in. It's got some 21 well, I don't know if that number is crazy, but it's some over 21 million people worldwide at the moment on that website. Change.org is another website, and all of these over here are petitions. For example, this is a petition for the South African women fight to corrective rape, and one of the petitions that will be familiar to many of you is that petition for dismissing Delhi police officials for not acting to save 5-year-old rape victim. And for example, that's got more than 36,000 signatures. Now, whether those signatures actually mean anything or not, Preeti is going to talk us through a little bit of that. Preeti, I want to start with you first. What would you say to all of those people who say that online petitions are basically lazy activism?
I think it's a little simplistic to think that online petitions are just the solution to all the problems, and I actually think that online platforms and online petition is the first point of engagement where you actually start talking about an issue that you're concerned about. So I believe that, I mean, as at change.org, we are driven by the belief of the power of the people. I mean, we're providing a platform where people can start a petition on an issue that they are very concerned about, and therefore they can take it further. Now, what does this mean? It means that they can actually raise awareness online. They can actually get people together and demonstrate the support they've got through these petitions. And
do you want to, in fact, I know you had sent me some links of some successful petitions of yours. Do you want to take us through them and talk about how this particular petition, what kind of feedback it got, and what a success? I think this was one of the petitions you sent me. I mean, I know many people would say that installation of streetlights and Palam Vihar, perhaps for somebody in Kanyakumari, may seem like a small thing, but of course for residents. So would you tell us a little bit about that one, Preeti?
Yes. So moving on from how every individual, every common person on the street has actually got the power to make the change that they want. This petition was started by Anoop. He's from Gurgaon. He was very worried about how the streets were really dark and it wasn't safe for people. So he started a petition asking the Gurgaon authorities to do something about it and quickly install streetlights. He managed to get a lot of support online, but that was not it. He actually used these support, went and delivered it to the authorities with the people from his community. Constantly, I think he had about 2 or 3 meetings before they finally agreed that something needs to be done. And they
responded, and he got what he started a petition for. Okay, well, that certainly can't be negated at all, but I want to just bring in Alam, who joins us from Lucknow. Alam, Preeti बोल रही हैं कि चाहे छोटा सक्सेस हो, मगर सक्सेस बहुत सारी ऑनलाइन पिटिशंस को विक्ट्री मिली है, कोई सक्सेस मिला है. आपकी क्या सोच है इनके बारे में?
पिटिशन कोई होता है, उसको सफलता मिल जाती है, तो ये एक छोटे से सेक्शन के लिए तो खुशी की बात हो सकती है, लेकिन जो इससे बड़े परिवर्तन की बात करते हैं सड़क पे या सोसाइटी को बदलने की बात करते हैं, या जो बड़े राजनीतिक सवाल है जैसे बटला हाउस का सवाल था, उस पे क्या हश्र हुआ, जो ऑनलाइन पिटीशन और ऑनलाइन जो एक्टिविज्म हुआ वो भी हमारे सामने है। वो एक छोटे से सोसाइटी के हिस्से के सवाल को तो आप एड्रेस कर सकते हैं, वो भी अगर वो गैर राजनीतिक और ऐसा हो जिससे कोई बड़े लॉबी को, बड़े कॉर्पोरेट को, बड़े पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को कोई नुकसान ना हो, तब तक तो ये चल सकता है। लेकिन जैसे ही कुछ हार्ड इश्यूज आपके सामने आते हैं, कोई पॉलिटिकल सवाल सामने आता है, तो फिर ये सब चीजें बहुत नहीं टिक पाती हैं। तो एक सीमा है और सीमा को हमें समझते हुए इस सवाल के महत्व को उजागर करना होगा। मुझे लगता है कि इस तरह की चीजें एक छोटे से दायरे को ही अपील करती हैं, और देश का एक बड़ा हिस्सा है जो आज जैसे माइनॉरिटीज का ही सवाल है, जो माइनॉरिटी के लड़के अपने रियल नाम से अपना फेसबुक अकाउंट नहीं बना पाते हैं, बनाने से डरते हैं, मेल अपना नहीं बनाना चाहते हैं, डरते हैं उससे कि उसको कल पुलिस परेशान करने लगे, वो लोग इस एक्टिविज्म से कट जाते हैं। तो एक छोटे से सेक्शन के सवाल को ही आप एड्रेस कर रहे होते हैं।
अच्छा आलम, हम Manisha Sethi is also joining us on the show. Manisha is the president of the Jamia Teacher Solidarity Association. Manisha, you know, increasingly what it seems to be over a period of time that we've seen the success of many online petitions, and of course we've also seen people come out in the streets really to fight for things that they really believe in. For example, after the Delhi horrific Delhi gang rape, do you think that maybe in terms of mobilizing ways to change, do you think that it's becoming a bit of a rural versus urban divide in that sense? Do you see it like that?
Well, you know what, I think we tend to fall into very easy generalizations when we talk about movements and campaigns. I don't think the dichotomy lies between online or offline mobilizations. I think the dichotomy really lies on on political lines, which is, you know, whether you stand at on the side of justice, equality, truth, democracy, or you don't. And in our fight for a more equitable society, in our fight for a more just society, sometimes, you know, one will do mass mobilization, sometimes one will do online campaigns. You need all kinds of languages and grammars in our struggles. So you will need, you know, theatre, you will need films, you will need songs of protest, you will also need online campaigns. I don't really see a dichotomy there. Yes, of course, in terms of, you know, the social base of online campaigns, yes, that would be very urban, educated, middle class sort of base. But really one needs to reach out to that base as well. So, you know, it's not as though one can ignore or one should leave out these online campaigns.
Manisha,
but of course the problem begins when, you know,
I was just going to say, you know, you're a foot soldier if there was one. And I just want to ask you, you know, in terms of, you know, success and impact between the two, if you just look at them. I mean, we also saw the case of, you know, that Swami Niganamandan, who was, of course, fighting against quarrying for the Ganga. And we saw that he was sitting on fast for so many weeks, and after that he just died. So it's not always necessary that if you get down onto the streets and you take it down to the grassroots necessarily means that the impact is going to be larger, does it?
See, the question is, how do we measure an impact or success of a movement? Increasingly we tend to measure it by the fact that, you know, what appears in papers or news channels, and I think that's the real problem. Because you know, that'll be short term, and in fact when we're talking about success or you know, the impact of movement, one shouldn't ignore the fact that, you know, there is another factor now in defining what is a successful movement or not, which is really the news television medium, which tells us what is important, what is significant in terms of, you know, a campaign or a movement, and that is how we are increasingly beginning to you know, measure our success. But that's not necessarily so. You know, for example, Irom Sharmila has been sitting on a fast for years now, but the mainstream media tended to focus on Anna Hazare's fast. So does that mean that Irom is less successful than Anna Hazare? So I think we need new criteria and measures of our success and failures.